Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. There is no theory on any of my content. Anybody who appears on my shows, which is my weekday live show here, as well as my twice-a-week long-form podcast, is a transportation professional. We are here to put information out there that you can apply, utilize, and see a meaningful difference in your business, in your life. Fact of the matter is, you guys, it's one of the many reasons why I proudly fly this American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth. B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you guys live your American dream as well. So the way that this show works is we break down some industry headlines, we talk about some topics, and we just go through a lot of this stuff, you guys. And then we also, today, so I started creating content a few years ago as a way to put the right information out there. Because, I mean, frankly, at the time, I saw a lot of garbage out there, and I'm seeing a resurgence of the bullshit come out there about all the lies and the easy routes that everybody should take in regards to freight sales and everything. Now, what methods work for everyone? No. But what I see out there definitely isn't going to fucking get you anywhere. I don't try and sell you a course on any of this stuff, all right? I've been in the industry for 15 years. I'm building my own brokerage. I've been doing this for a long time. This is just what I've seen success in. This is where all of the stuff that I'm delivering to you guys day in and day out comes from. So how I started creating content was I used to do like a couple of minute clips every single day on specific topics. And that's what I'm going to incorporate back in. As my businesses and companies have grown, I have to be very mindful of my time and my delivery, because I want to give you guys the best shit. And I don't want to put half-ass videos out there every single day. So this time is blocked off every day that I'm going to go live, and we're going to start incorporating that every single day. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about prospecting here for a few minutes this morning, and how do I begin? But before I do that, you guys, I have to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. VHubApp.com. They're the ones who help keep this neon light on for me every single weekday. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or shipper, we all need access to trailers at some point in time. And the best part about with what VHub app has to offer you guys is you get to get paid to move a lot of this stuff for them. But right now, specifically, they have a very interesting project. So again, this kind of ties into the topic of the day about prospecting. You can't sound like everybody else. So with what they have, a very unique opportunity here, you guys. They have a drop trailer round trip opportunity, and that's how it would have to go. So if you're a broker and you have a customer in Dallas, Texas that has freight that needs to get up into Canada, into Toronto specifically, you can literally create a drop trailer pool with this, you guys. So they have drive-ins down in Dallas, Texas that need to go to Long Sault, Ontario. And then you can drop them there, and then you grab another empty in Long Sault and go back down to Hutchins, Texas, and you can round trip this, you guys. So this is a great way for you guys to think outside of the box while you're selling. They also have some reefer trailers available in St. Cloud, Minnesota, and Mason City, Iowa, needing to go to Mississauga, Ontario. You go onto their app and you put your offer in on what you need. They also have Milton, Ontario to Moncton, New Brunswick for $400 Canadian. They have Winnipeg, Manitoba to Vaughan, Ontario for $500 Canadian. And then finally, they got vans in Paragould, Arkansas, needing to go to Orting, Washington, and you get $1,550 US to move that. And again, that's always on top of the revenue that you can get by loading that trailer up. So hit them up, you guys, vhubapp.com, and do me a favor. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Comments are blowing up already. I love it. I love the energy today. Bob, what's up, brother? Good morning. Let's fucking go. Sonny Sharma, Orange Shirt Gang in the house. Lori O'Connell, good morning. Thank you for joining. Tracy O. St. Clair, always great to see you. Taven Alford, good morning. Thanks for joining. Aaron Sharma, good morning. Orange Shirt Gang. Fletcher Long, howdy. Nathan at BPW Logistics. He's watching over on YouTube, you guys. If you guys are YouTube fans, I stream live over there as well. Louis, what's up, brother? Stephen Title, Papa Freight in the house. Let's have a great day. Rebecca Wallace, good morning to you as well. All right, so give me a second here. All right, so prospecting. Where do I begin? Where do I go? Shaw, good morning. Thanks for joining. So if you're new to kind of following me, or if you've heard me before, you hear me talk about a niche a lot. I fortunately have befriended a lot of shippers over this journey. And I have a lot of shippers come on my shows and literally tell you how to prospect. And, going in there and offering a service that a prospect doesn't need is instantly going to get you turned off. Like, for example, if this is a food shipper that hauls refrigerated product, like cheese, and you go in there and say that you can, give them dry van, you're going to lose out right away. You're already working against yourself. You can't call prospects to find out about their business in transportation. If you've been told that, unfortunately, I feel like you've been led astray. You need to be hyper focused on why you're calling them. If you're reaching out to somebody, know about their business, right? Like, go to their website, take a couple of minutes. Literally, we are at a time where information is plentiful. It is literally everywhere. You can find out everything you need to know about a prospect in less than 5 minutes. Go to their website, find out about all their locations, find out about the products that they ship. You can decipher at that point what kind of trailer they need. I would even scale it back even further, because this is what I'm doing in my brokerage, you guys. My wheelhouse is open deck and heavy haul. Anything open deck, anything heavy haul, that is my wheelhouse. That is my specialty. That's where all the bulk of the majority of my experience is. So that's who I'm going after. Fortunately, I utilize lead generation software right now, but that is not necessary. I have built multiple books of business off of Google. All right. Now, I live out here in Phoenix, Arizona. Wherever you guys are located in the United States of America, go to local shippers. Introduce yourself in person. Are you going to get some doors slammed in your face? Absolutely. Maybe not all the time, but go out there and introduce yourself, because people want to work with people. People love supporting local businesses. So get out there and get active in it. But again, I personally think prospecting boils down to, like, if you're like, hey, this is like day one, I just found out what a dry van was 2 weeks ago. Learn every single intricacy of what a dry van is utilized for. No hours of service, no weight laws. And again, Google's a fantastic tool. 80,000 pounds, no axle weight disbursements. Talk about, focus in on that, knowing those intangible skills of how you can separate yourself out there. And then talk to them specifically about their product, and I personally think if you are cold calling somebody who ships cheese, for example, what do you know about food grade transportation? Again, Google is a great tool out there. Talk to them about washouts. Why is it important for a driver to have a washout? Why with some food grade product is it important to have a pallet exchange, and asking them about their pallet exchange and everything else, because cross-contamination is a real thing in the food world. So again, there's so many different angles you can take with this, but I will always recommend choose one product type, one trailer type, start in your backyard and build out your prospecting from there. Again, that's where I would begin, as I would choose one thing and have that same conversation time and time again, because in my opinion, you guys, repetition is going to cure all of your anxiety. Work on that. Get comfortable with saying, hey, my name is Chris. Hey, my name is Chris. I'm with Freight Coach Logistics. Get comfortable saying that on the phone, and again, it's about it. There's not one thing that you're going to say that they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to give you all this business from here. But most importantly, choose one thing, build out from there, start in your backyard, start writing down warehouse names. Google is a phenomenal tool, you guys. Again, I built multiple books of business off of there. So start with that. It's not just calling somebody for the sake of calling them. Have intent, have purpose, and what value can you add to their operation? As always, you guys, any of these questions that you guys have regards to sales and operations, you can DM me about them. I will answer them live here on the show. You can put it over on the chat on YouTube. I'll get notified of that, and I will address them. That's really the main reason why I started doing this stuff every single day, is to add value that I can. And anything I talk about on here, I'm actually applying inside of my own brokerage. Again, I'm not feeding you guys astray. This is a fucking almost $1 trillion a year industry. There is more business than any of us could even comprehend out there. Okay. And you just focus in on that. Let me see here. Kayla Johnson, good morning. Thanks for joining in. Cameron Lisk, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining in today. He says, good morning, everyone. And Sean Covell, what's up, brother? Says, do your research for sales intelligence. People want their hands held. Man, I think, Sean, I'm going to push back. I understand what you're saying. I don't think as much as it's that people want their hand held. Not everybody. I think what's missing is fundamental training. I think actually sitting down with somebody and training them about the job that they're going to do. I have heard so many stories from individuals out there, from large companies, medium companies, it doesn't matter, where they're essentially given a term sheet of what trailers are, and then they're given a fucking phone and a computer and say, start making calls. Now that doesn't apply to everybody, Sean. So I agree with you as well. But I think that as an industry, if you're going to run a business and you're going to hire people, train your team. All right. I have one of the most comprehensive training platforms already built out for my team as I grow my brokerage. I will put it up against anybody's in the industry, and it's only going to evolve and it's only going to get better from there. But yeah, you guys, that's kind of my little piece today. And I'm going to do that every single day, you guys. And now from this portion on, I'm going to break down some industry headlines and talk about this and what information you can put out there and apply in your business. And I'm going to start doing those topics every single day. So if you continue to show up, and as always, you guys, if you guys see value in what you hear, subscribe and share the show, rank the show. This is how we have become the top transportation podcast. It's because of each and every one of you who come in and share this show and get this out there and get in front of more and more people. Because if you guys see value in this, your network's going to see value in this as well. Shaw says, what are the best ways to find good shippers apart from going door to door? Define a good shipper first and foremost, man. I think that a lot of individuals go after logos in the fact of like, hey, I want to work with this one because they're large. And again, large shippers are great. Don't get me wrong. But we often overlook that there could be some small to mid-sized companies out there who are severely underserved and underutilized. I personally think that when you're prospecting an individual, you want to get a feel for the prospect, right? It's not about like, hey, what can I do to make money out of this equation? Because again, I've worked with some really great shippers and I've worked with some not so great shippers in my past. And I personally think that a lot of, for me is a lot of it it takes about 20 to 25 shipments with a shipper to build up a really good cadence, man. So that's why I say it's very situational in that part, Shaw. But I think that the best way to go in about Matt Fink here in the comment, he says, easy cheat code, go to Google Maps for any given area and search .corp, LLC, INC, et cetera. It'll show you the map with businesses and you can pursue and anything that fits your model. So that's a great idea as well, man, is to go and do that. But again, Shaw, another thing, what are you passionate about, right? Like, what are you passionate about outside, like a hobby? I think that's always a great place to start too. If you love something, like I know some people who love working out. Robert Bain, strongest man in freight. That guy, go after protein products and stuff like that. Again, I would just look into those situations out there. Danny, what's up? Good morning. Thanks for joining. Tony Darnell, I have a liftgate reefer drayage service I'd love to offer you, man, if you got time to talk about that later. I'm completely being sarcastic. Tony's a great friend of mine, and for the love of God, don't prospect him. All right, you guys, we're going to get into some articles here. Let's go. First one, ways fleets can set themselves up for financial success. This article is coming from thefleetowner.com. And fleets have their hands full. High fuel and equipment prices, labor concerns, shipping rates, inflation, and other economic factors to haunt their bottom line. So how can fleet executives set their companies up for financial success? Analyzing freight networks. One solution for carriers is leverage technology and apps available to them so they know where brokers are looking for carriers on certain lanes. I always give a shameless plug to my good friends over at Trucker Tools. If you're a driver out there and you're not using Trucker Tools, A, it's free, but B, this is a way for you to put your lanes in there to talk about the fuel, for example. Like if you're running Phoenix to Albuquerque, New Mexico, you can pull up all your fuel stops out there. That's another way for you to analyze your network as well for some technology. Dean Croak, who's been on the show, he's a great friend of mine. And one of the things we encourage carriers to do is when they get tights to consider options and look at other lanes. We had a carrier complaining on social media that rates are $1.21 out of Portland to Oklahoma City. I said, yeah, but they are averaging $3 a mile outside of Oklahoma City. So the rate out of the destination is just a small component. We are finding that carriers are having more visibility into the market and a better ways to get their revenue per day. And, and we've talked about this on this show, is there are so many, and again, this is kind of to tie into the prospecting phase. Everybody wants big city to big city, right? Like everybody wants Atlanta to Chicago. It is it's so overly saturated. I would also recommend for your prospecting and building it up is go to secondary cities. There are some major manufacturing done in secondary cities that aren't Atlanta, Georgia, that aren't Chicago, Illinois. And you can go out there and look into that. And a lot of those, you guys, since they are underserved, is that the rates are higher out of there because a lot of the drivers who are in Atlanta have to deadhead down to Macon, Georgia. That's another 50 miles. So again, for drivers out there, it's looking into that. And then also, have you looked at like local freight? You guys, 300-mile or less freight, I think, is the most neglected freight out there. And you can literally build a very successful brokerage just off of doing that. I move a lot of local freight. I'm not opposed to it at all. And then it's talking about utilizing technology to identify those lanes and go back to our customers and say that I can give you capacity and negotiate additional lanes on top of that. Also, in this article, it talks about implement equipment strategies. Having a strategy is most important, and that's especially true for the availability of vehicles. Brian Holland, the CEO of Fleet Advantage, says, we are recommending that companies put together a strategy to monitor their programs. We believe that leasing is a proven strategy to preserve cash flow and to optimize asset utilization and to provide maximum flexibility. Holland also encourages fleets to thoroughly review their bundled full service leasing contracts, if applicable, and consider unbundling as an option as well. And then talking about managing cash flow, on my podcast, I've talked to a lot of companies that help drivers manage cash flow. As a business owner myself, managing cash flow it's extremely imperative and important out there. And I would say if you're in business for yourself right now, if you don't have a bookkeeper, find a quality bookkeeper to work with almost immediately. It is a lifesaver to have a bookkeeper out there to help with a lot of the back office stuff. Talking about cash is king in there. And then we all know that shorter life cycles and newer trucks produce lower operating costs, and that you want to be able to take advantage of the newer technologies at lower costs, but at the same time preserve your cash. And then it's also talking out that working with other companies as well. If you're growing your fleet out, one thing that my dad did, and he talked about frequently, was utilizing the same brand of truck and how a lot of parts and components are interchangeable between assets. And also that's what he did. And then buying things in bulk too. So we always had multiple 55-gallon drums of oil, antifreeze, washer fluid, everything inside of our shop that he used time and time again. And same with tires as well. He bought tires in bulk. He did a lot of work for some local salvage companies that when trucks would come in with brand new rubber on there, but were totaled out, he would be able to go in and strip that and utilize that. So he got crafty with it. I mean, my dad was an owner out for 40 years and he got crafty with a lot of this stuff. And this is one of a really good article, you guys, from fleetowner.com. It's ways fleets can set themselves up for financial success out there. Check that article out, you guys. As always, I put the links to all these articles over on the YouTube channel, The Freight Coach, as well as the Coffee with the Freight Coach audio only replay of this, which will be up there almost afterwards. Jake Peterson says, never met you, but I always followed you, man. And today is hitting home. Appreciate you. I appreciate that, Jake, dude. It's messages like you guys that you just put there, man. That's what I love the most. I love hearing out there. And again, you guys, it's just about putting that information out there for you guys to use in your base. Dude, Nathan Frazier in the house. What is up? He just good to see you, man. Looking forward to hearing from the master. Just email me your contact. Yeah, dude, of course. Nate, done. I got your, I will literally give you all of my lists. I want you to personally vet them for me. Good to see you, brother. Shaw, yeah, man. Shaw, we go live every day, brother. All right. 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central. We go live every day. We mainly break down articles. But again, any sales and operations questions you guys have, I will answer them for you. And then let me see here. Taven, what KPIs? Dude, I am an anti-KPI guy. All right. I personally think there's so much emphasis on KPIs, which are necessary to a point, but I want quality outreach over a quantity. I don't believe in saying my reps need to make 100 outbound calls a day when I realistically know the benefit of working with me is I've actually done the job and 90 of those calls go to voicemail. So I want to KPI my individuals on account growth and a KPI on seeing a prospect grow from the initial phone call all the way up to building to activating that. Danny says he personally loves picking and dropping at those small areas. Me too, man. Chandler, what's up? Is it more stressful dealing with comments in chat or being a great freight broker? Chandler, everything's fucking stressful at this point. Like I got more gray hairs now than I ever thought was possible at a ripe young age of 37 years old, but it's all worth it. Good to see you, Chandler. Let me see here. Next article is also from Fleet Owner, and it's talking about the freight market being in a lull ahead of a projected upturn. The spot market for carriers continues to rebalance, but rates, at least for smaller fleets and owner operators, still aren't making up for higher current operating costs. And that comes from 4 data analysis firms out there. In their end of year January survey, Spot Market Insights, 2 of the firms, which also, I'm just going to skim here, with rates are still trafficked, while rates are still tracking with the 5-year average spot load activity, this year has been weakening relative to average levels. In the market, or in the last week, it says volume was nearly 20%, 21% below the 5-year average. And that comparison has deteriorated each week during 2023. Brokers posted drive rates in dry van and refrigerated are lower than where they were before the final 2 weeks of 2022, but they are still tracking very close to 5-year averages. Dry van rates declined 34 cents in the first 4 weeks of 2023, after jumping about 24 cents in the final 2 weeks out there. The strength of spot rates will become clearer over the next several weeks as they typically begin to firm up in February. And the 2 companies, I think that, again, putting out on the dry van, again, I talk about this extensively. The dry van is going to be weak here because, again, the way that people bid, obviously, if you're bid out on an RFP for 2023, you bid aggressive and you bid low. So again, less and less freight is going to make its way out to the spot market. That's why you're going to see that. But again, that inflection point is going to happen at some point this year. I've talked about this a lot so far, so you can go and check out some of those past episodes. Also, higher costs equals more expensive fuel. Spot rates are not in line with higher, and it's true. But again, as Ken Adamo, he's my man from DAT. He was on here a couple of days ago, and we talked about this. And it's the fact that 85% of the freight moved in the industry is contracted. So like 15, maybe 20, if you want to argue 20% actually makes it out to the spot market as a whole. So you kind of got to take a lot of that with a grain of salt. That's why we talk about finding that dedicated freight. Again, back to my earlier topic on prospecting, for example, about going local and everything else. And there are people who want and it's not technically contracted at that point. Again, there's a lot of terminology that's thrown out there that I have, quote unquote, contracted rates with customers, with my shippers that I work with, but it's not a published rate. I just offer them the same price time and time again. That's technically, by this terminology that we are utilizing, spot market. So again, there's a lot of schematics out there that you could argue back and forth on, but the fact of the matter is you can find dedicated business out there that by going direct to your local shippers, if you're a fleet and a broker too. And it does kind of follow up with the freight market has bottomed, which I would agree with that. It's going to only work its way up. It's only going to work its way up from here. And my great prediction is the spot market will surpass the contracted rates here My guess is mid-year. Now, somebody might want to hold me to that, and that's fine, but my guess is mid-year. I don't have a high-frequency crystal ball or anything like that. I just have high-frequency experience in the fucking trenches and reading freight markets for the last 12 years of my life. So that's my guess on where the freight markets will trend this year. But that article, another one was from fleetowner.com. Freight markets remain in a lull ahead of projected upturn, which again, produce season's right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. You will see it moving fast. It'll start ticking up faster than you think. John Giza says, on the verge of beginning my freight brokerage. I'm loving the content, trying to be a sponge. Preach, brother. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming in and tuning in, and I appreciate that. Chandler says, now we know why you wear a hat to hide the gray hair. No, Chandler, that's why I keep my hair so short on the sides. I have salon quality hair, Chandler. I just got to keep it short on the sides because, yes, you're right. It's turning into salt and pepper. And thankfully, my beautiful wife, Paloma, is very much in love with the gray hair. So, all right, you guys, third and final article is more of this was written actually by Dean Croak with DAT. And talking about, I wanted to talk about this because obviously it's Valentine's Day next week. Flowers are popping, everything's going on, but it's also, it's talking about the freight market, you know, because again, we broke down this freight lane the other day about outbound Florida going to Atlanta, Georgia, and then going to Charlotte, North Carolina, and the vast difference in what it paid by seemingly going into the exact same region. But it's talking about this. So I chose this article to talk about how the markets will trend this year. Is a freight going into Florida, rates are going to start dropping on this because rates out of Florida, and this is mainly spot market, rates out of Florida are about to shoot up. All right, because flowers are popping right now. We got Valentine's Day, then it transfers in to produce season, and it does the Florida produce. It ticks up into Georgia, and it ticks up into the Carolinas and stuff like that. So then it also south, or like Texas, Arizona, California, that is all going to start popping as well. So that has a direct effect on the rates. But there are plenty of customers and carriers out there who don't mess with produce. All right. So from a sales perspective, and I'll use this line a lot. If you're good enough to make $1,000 on a load, you better be good enough to lose $1,000 on a load. Don't think short-sighted when the markets shift like that. Because again, from a prospecting perspective, this is why you shouldn't go after freight markets of what everybody else is, because there's produce shipping all over the place. But what you'll see is everyone goes after South Florida produce during a certain time, and then they just chase freight markets. So your competition is exponentially harder and higher in those markets as a whole. But again, the Florida market is going to be a upturn here, where it's going to definitely increase in price. So that article is from DAT.com/blog, and it's Valentine's Day is a day for love, but it's all business for truckers. And that's the thing. Think about that, you guys. When we're all sitting in behind our desks at night and our drivers are out there on the road, what can you do? Be a concierge service for your carrier partners. You are literally behind a computer. What can you do to improve your carrier partners' lives? Because in my opinion, carriers and customers are 1A and 1B of importance as a freight broker, because if you don't have one, you don't have another. So think about that as you're building stuff out there, you guys. But that is it for today. Tomorrow, we'll do the show, always 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central. It'll be Freight Tip Friday. All right. And this is what I'll do. It'll be either a sales or an operations related thing. And we're going to start talking about this again every single day on there. And as always, if you guys have any sales or operations related questions for the transportation industry, send them to me via DM, drop them in the chat here or over on YouTube. I will answer them live on the show for you guys. And as always, if you see value in what we talk about here, you guys subscribe and share the show, rank the show, because that's how these things work. And that's how we reach more and more people, is through each and every one of you guys. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.